But I want to start by posing a question. Should clubs that exclude members of the opposite sex be allowed to operate in 2025? Or are they a relic of a bygone past that should be banned? That's a question being asked in Victoria at the moment after a woman was denied membership of the Sandringham Club. That's a club on Melbourne's Bayside. The club was established in 1912 and it features an array of sporting facilities. We might be able to show you some of those. They've got tennis courts, bowling greens, cricket pitches and golf courses. And while membership is open only to men, their families are allowed to join them on site. That, however, was not good enough for one Melbourne woman who, after being denied membership, now insists these clubs should be banned. The problem, of course, is they're perfectly legal, as was pointed out by Monash University Professor Dominic Allen. Professor Allen said it's unlawful to discriminate on the basis of sex under Victoria's anti-discrimination laws in the provision of goods and services, but there's an exception in the legislation which means clubs can exclude members of the opposite sex from membership if membership of that club is only available to one sex. Now, interestingly enough, there are 30 clubs or around that number in Australia that offer membership only to one sex, and they include Melbourne's Alexandra Club and Sydney's Lyceum Club, both of which are open only to women. Curiously enough, no one is asking for those clubs to be shut down. Victorian's Women's Minister, Natalie Hitchens, she got involved in this debate, and she said that clubs like the Sandringham Club, which is for men only, have no place in 2025. A relic from the past, she said, which always makes me curious when people think that by quoting the date, they're making an argument. The fact that it's 2025 has no bearing on whether something is moral or immoral. In fact, that's based on the rather modern conceit that somehow because we're alive today, we are automatically more morally evolved than, say, our grandparents, which isn't always the case and probably not the case in Natalie Hitchens' instance. Here she is, the Women's Minister, can't even define what a woman is.
Because equality is not negotiable here in Victoria, Speaker. And the rights of trans Victorians is not negotiable here in Victoria. As Minister for Women, I proudly stand up for all women. That includes trans women.
So a Women's Minister, Caleb, who proudly stands for all women, that includes men who identify as women, should probably just sit this debate out as to whether sex-exclusive clubs should or should not exist in 2025.
Yeah, that is true. Counterpoint, though, is that if she believes that men should be allowed into women's clubs, perhaps she also has a point saying that women should be allowed into men's clubs, by which I mean the men being allowed into the women's clubs as those claiming they are women. But you pointed out before the Alexandra Club and the Lyceum Club. Now, there's a Lyceum Club in Sydney. There's also a Lyceum Club in Melbourne, which is right next door to the Melbourne Club, right? So, you know, a couple can walk up and the man goes in that door and the woman goes in that door. I don't see what the problem is here. Now, this woman who tried to sign up to the Sandringham Club, I mean, how dopey do you have to be as a woman to try and sign up to a men's-only club and then get outraged that they didn't accept your membership application? If you go on the Sandringham Club's website and click on the About section, the first thing it says, Sandringham Club is a private men's sporting club. So she should have known that when she went to apply. Oh, I can't believe they didn't let me in. I mean, if we can't have men's-only spaces, I've never heard of anyone say that we can't have women's-only spaces, apart from transgender activists, of course, but no one ever says, oh, we can't have the Alexandra Club, or we can't have the Lyceum Club. It's always, we can't have the Adelaide Club, we can't have the Melbourne Club, etc., because it's all when men go and do things on their own, that is bad, we must let women in there. Well, it's up to the club. If the membership of the club says they want to let women in, that is their prerogative. If they don't want to let women in, that is their prerogative. Why, as a man, can I not have a space where I can go and hang out with other men without being bothered by women? I don't see what the problem is, and I don't see why women can't do the same thing.